in the studio with Jake Reese, and we've been talking about Jake's journeys. It's one of them up close and personal shows, so Jake's been very open with us, sharing much about his past and things that he's been involved in. He event organizer, he talks about that. But he got to the point in the success that he was doing as an event organizer that he felt this is not the road that he needed to go down anymore. He felt he needed to be the change. There's some kind of a saying from Gandhi in it about, or it's put to Gandhi, be the change that you want to see, or something like that. And so I believe that's the path that Jake decided to take. So we talk about how it came to that. While I was having a discussion, I was asking Jake about, in a sense, like messages, or things that took place that may have kind of like given him a little push towards questioning what he was doing and whether he needed to change. And we had a discussion in the interval where he said, wow, how discussion actually brings things back to the mind, and some of the thoughts that weren't there at the time when we were talking came back. So I asked him if he would be able to share that with you, because what we're talking about here, because there's Jake here, yeah, but he's a soul. I mean, we're all souls, and like I said before with the search engine, if one person can gain something in the sense of awareness, information, knowledge from one of these shows, then I consider that to be successful. We all have got our challenges in life, whether it's barriers or whatever, things that we need to overcome. And a lot of the times we can learn that by listening, questioning other people who have been through certain things and overcome those things. And we find that there probably will be a lot of similarities, not that, the certain actions may be different. Jake may have been his, event organising, but it doesn't mean somebody else may just have been just a role in the job that you do, whether it's an accountant, whether it's a doctor, whether it's a nurse, in every role or aspect that we play. And in life we play so many roles, I said before about Jake being an event organiser, holistic therapy, author, and he's all them in one, but he's also them at certain times of the year. So I'm here and we're talking to Jake. So I was saying before, when you mentioned in the break about that messages, things that you start questioning your mind and your way forward, and whether you're making the right choices in life. And you actually said something seemed like angels, as a message in some way.
Yeah, definitely. It's that time in my life, it was a very erratic time, and when I was spiraling off, when I was on a very egotistical path of successful, I thought that I knew best. I must know the best, all the time when people were trying to tell me stuff. And I love the analogy that you use where people were trying to chink at your armour at first. You're like, I don't care, and it's but then it's that one chink or that one friend, that comes around. And there was friends that were coming around and saying, look bro, what's going on, man? You look like you're spiraling, is everything good? And it took me back to a memory. But this was when I started to go into the self-reflection stage of, am I doing the right thing? Do I need to change things around? Do I need to change my frequency inside? And I remember I was sat in a club and, I don't do them anymore, and I do not forbid these, but I had a balloon. And
that's them things with them metal things, innit?
Yeah,
I mean, again, I'm showing my age here now, but I went out to a party one time, not a party, it was actually my niece's birthday, and I went there and I went outside for some fresh air, and there were some guys out there with these balloons, and I'm like, what are they doing? These balloons?
They call it laughing gas, don't they? They call it laughing gas. It fires your brain, man, your lungs. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good, you get like a little buzz off it, a little rush in the mind, but it's not good, man. It's not good.
But when you're young and whatever, everybody's doing something, you
it was
into that. I don't think nobody is able only to point the finger, and what did I say? Point your finger and three fingers are pointing back at you. But thank you for sharing that, because again, it shows in recognizing where I was to,
Yeah, it was a phase in my life, and it was part of the culture that was in at the time. and I was in the club, and it was, you know, it was a busy night. And from a young age, I've always been into energy and vibes of people. And I remember I was in there, I was going off on one line, writing all kind of madness about the weekends that I was on. And I remember I seen this lady with blonde hair. She just come through the crowd like that, and I seen her. I could see with my eyes coming through, and she was looking at me, but it's like she was glowing. So I just seen her, and she just stood out from everyone, and she just come up to me, and I remember she just put a hand on my shoulder. She just went, "You're better than this." Never, don't know. I've never seen her since. She just went, "You're better than this," and that was just like, whoa. And it's like when she come and spoke to me, it's like the whole world and everything and time just stopped around me, and it was like God just going, "This is the message for you." Like just an angel just come in your life and just boom. Because she didn't know me, that's what hit me, and I didn't know her. But I thought, wow.
And did you hit you right there and then? I mean, did you just put down the balloon or?
yeah, I just put.
I'll finish it first. Do it tomorrow.
I'm tripping, you know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then I remember getting back to the party, and I was telling myself, someone come up to me in a club and they said something, man, and it was just in my mind all night. Chip. Every conversation, everything I was getting into, you're better than this. Any time I was drinking or doing things, I was just like, you're better than this, you're better than I thought. And it was just like something subconscious that was just coming through into the conscious mind, you know, and into my heart. I'm like, what am I doing? I am better than this, you know. And that was like, that was a turning point. That was a big turning point, and it was a couple of weeks later that was the spiritual awakening. It was like all these different people getting sent into my life from God, from the universe, however you want to frame it. And they were getting me ready for this grand awakening. They were like, something big's coming for you. And they was getting me ready for it, you know what I mean? It was like...
Can you describe in any way some of those experiences that you had when you say about getting ready?
I was seeing a lot of different numbers. So I've always been into my numerology, so I've been seeing different numbers all the time on my phone. You know, 11:11, I'd be getting up and people were phoning me. And the phone call was 11 minutes 11. I was just like, it's like I was in the Truman Show or something, like a Twilight Zone. But then it was happening that often, or I'd get into conversations. I'd go into a coffee shop and I'd hear a conversation between two people that was like a message for me at the time. I'd hear them talking, they probably never nothing to do with me, but it was like the universe was using other vessels to send messages through. In my perspective, you know, what I thought was happening, and I feel was happening at that time. And I look back now.
And was you doing any reading or listening to anything like that? That time to kind of like try and understand what you were going through, or did you have did you seek anybody out to say, hey, something's happening?
Yeah, I started to message a lot of people online. I started to message a few of my older friends that were more spiritual, you know, and they had this word that was planted in me was a star seed. So this word star seed, and I started to research about star seeds, and it was like saying that certain fragments of souls have been sent to the earth at this time to change it and to change the consciousness, and they'll start awakening and remembering as who they are. That's what I felt like I was going through, an awakening into who I really was, you know. And I did seek out a few people. I'm a friend from the old gym, it was called Will, and I seeked him out. I said, I think you're a starseed, you know. I said, I just sent a message off my head probably one day. I said, I think you're a starseed. And he sent me back some big paragraph about the universe and about indigo childs and all this madness, and I thought, well, that's too much for me. I thought that's a bit too deep for me at that time. But when I look back now, it was exactly what I needed, because it was making me look deeper into life. You know, it was making me look deeper into life, and you know, some days you just wake up and think, why are we even on this planet? What am I even doing?
What am I here for?
Yeah. What's my purpose?
Because I think there's a saying that says at least at some point in everybody's life that is a question that they ask themselves. And what they do with it, again, obviously, is, wide and varied. But yeah.
Yeah, it was just, I was really going on an internal journey. I was very, at that time, I was very projecting everything. Never coming back into, is this right? So it was kind of, the energy was changing from an outwards to a really inwards journey, and it was a very beautiful time when I look back now.
Wow.
How it was getting orchestrated, and it was only a few weeks later that I had the awakening, at Secret Garden Party. We've previously spoke about this briefly before.
Say that again.
The Secret Garden was my grand awakening.
What is that? What's the Secret Garden?
So that's a festival in Cambridge.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a festival in Cambridge, and it's quite a spiritual festival. There's a lot of hippies, and it's on ley lines where the festival is. And the energy when I got there, I wasn't going to go at first, but there were just so many signs telling me to go and experience this, and I needed to go. So I took the weekend off and I went down, and I remember being in there. I was meeting people from years ago, from 10 years for the past, and so many reminiscing, and so much love there, man. And the speakers were in the woods, was in nature, the vibration and the music, and I remember saying to myself at one point inside, this is the best night of my life. I remember saying, this is the best night of being so high and seeing so many people and not being at work, and just being free, being able to do whatever you want. And if I go to the toilet, if I go, even these little mad things, I can just go and do whatever I needed to do. And I was just free. It was because I've not been to another night for 5 years. I've not been to another event for 5 years, and it was where I've been free, and it was just unbelievable. And I don't know if I can say, I had a trip. Okay, I had a trip, and at first everything was bliss, man. It was nice, and then the woods and everything started to go an emerald green colour, which is the heart chakra colour. This really emerald green. I was looking around and I was like, whoa, what is going on? And then at the time, I thought I was just like, just whatever is in my body, And I started to feel this really heavy energy come over me. And it's like getting a grip of me. So I kind of put my glasses on, I put my hood up, and I thought I'd just meditate and I'd just stand it away, because I was quite a strong minded at the time. And I had quite a high tolerance because I was out all the time. So I thought I'll be alright soon. And then this energy just got hold of me, and it started to kind of pull me down. And I thought, wow, what is this? So I put my back against the tree. So I'm trying to fight with this energy to get it off me. And on the outside, I was actually fighting, and people was grabbing me and trying to hold me. But then I'm fighting internally with this energy, and I'm trying to fight out of, like I was going into a black hole. So externally, my friends were holding me and trying to, but I was internally, I was fighting for my life. And I thought, am I dying here? This is what I was saying to myself. But then I just went boom out that reality, and it's like I went on a trip inside myself into the earth. And I was looking round, and I just remember a tribe around me, big tribe around me, with all like things for the noses and paint on the faces. And they was arguing about me. I could hear them arguing about me, whether it's going to change or not. Dum 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 dum. So I just was looking around. I was like, what is going on? Where am I? What's going on? And then I remember this lady coming through this tribe, through this crowd, and this lady had been described as Mother Ayahuasca, as a keeper of the earth, in the earth. And she just put a hand on my shoulder, and she just said, my son, remember who you are. And I felt like a lightning bolt, boom, coming from her. And I was like, oh, she just kept going, remember. And then she's kind of pushed me back. And she's pushing me back. I'm laying on my back. I'm looking up. And all these small fragments of trees started to grow around me. The little shoots, and then there was like into massive oak trees. I could hear this tribal music getting louder and louder. I was being reborn. So I could feel myself getting lifted up, and I've got a cross tied on my back, a crucifix. And I felt this female essence come and attach to my back where the crucifix was. She started to pick me up, like astral travelling. And I was like, whoa, and I was like, whoa, because I was so vulnerable at the time. I didn't know where I was, what I was doing, you know. And I remember she whispered in my ear, I'll never forget this. She just said, life's eternal. My left ear on the feminine side, and I just remember her saying it, and it just put me out of so much ease. And then as I was coming up, I remember seeing a white, like, hole with like beings, white, bright beings stood around it. You couldn't make features out, they're just bright white, shining, just holding it around in a circle, like holding hands. And I've just gone through this like a vortex, like a dimensional vortex, back into this world, back into my body. And I just woke up and everyone was around me, like girls were crying and they were like, are you okay? And I just got up and I looked at everyone, I was like, what's everyone looking at? I was like, bro, you just know what's just happened, you've just gone mad. You've gone mad, and then you just stopped. You know, when the ambulance people were there, it was like my soul had left my body and come back into my body, gone on a journey and come back. And but the funny thing was, is when I got up, I'd been up for over 48 hours. I had no intoxications in my body. Got up and I was sober, bright sober, just normal like that. But they said when I got up, I had this glimmer around me and this glamour in my eyes, and everyone was kind of looking like, my mates kind of took me off and looked after me and chilled, and was sat around a campfire getting all these quilts and everything, people bringing me soup, and I thought, I didn't know what had happened on the outside, so I was still trying to make sense of it. And from then, after that, I went back into the festival, thought, I'm not here for another day, I'm going to go and have it, and you know, make the most of it. So I went out, and part of me was like, something's happened here, and then I've been kind of been dancing. I could kind of see people playing me, going, there's that guy, he must have gone mad last night. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, there's that guy who must have gone mad last night. But I thought, I'm not letting him spoil my fun. You know what I mean? I'm going to go and enjoy myself, whether I was mad or not. I've not hurt anyone, you know, and I'm just there to have a buzz, and I thought I enjoy myself. And then when I come home that day, I got up the next day, and when I went downstairs, I just felt different. My energies just felt different. Any electronics I was coming really sensitive to, and I didn't know why, so I've gone out on a walk. And when I was walking past people, I could see auras around them. I could see like an aura around people. So I'm looking, thinking, what is that? So then I'm going, and it's like I can see nature and trees, and like they were breathing. Like the veil had been pulled back. But it was quite a scary time because I didn't know.
And that was the question was in my head, you know, how scary was that? That was in my mind when you were talking about going through the experience, but you brought it out yourself.
Yeah, I've probably never been so scared in my life. You know, actually in the moment of it happening, I thought I was dying. That then, but then.
But then coming into this now,
into this reality,
your eyes are open now.
Yeah, it's like I've been awakened. You know, it's like I'd woke.
So you knew then there's no turning back.
No. I thought something's happened here. But I was like rubbing my eyes. I thought I was spending too much time with the computer. I might need glasses, and I thought, why can't I see normal?
Some people probably, I don't know if they're listening, they probably go, oh yeah man, that was the thing that you took, just you know, messing around with your head, what you talking about.
No.
I think I don't know if I can even put this in a way of a question, but I'm going to try it with you anyway, in the sense that we talked about a trip, yeah, and maybe there, especially taking into consideration what happened to you, there's probably a difference in the trip, a journey, and the destination.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you probably could have a trip, and that trip is there just for a trip. Trip's a short thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what you experience and are dealing with now is still having an effect now. You know, so ain't no trip. Do you get my point?
Yeah. It's I know when it's a trip, and you can tell when your reality is a trip in reality. you know. But when you're very grounded and centered, and you're still seeing, and I could still see these things, I knew something had shifted inside of me. But it was scary because it was like, don't know when Neo says, try to take a red pill or a blue pill, and it's just like I'd been given it, and it was saying, look, this is what's really going on.
And there's so many. I know there's so many people who are listening regularly to the search engine that are bang on point with you, gone through their experiences, probably still going through it. Believe that they'll probably never stop going through those changing and learning and understanding and the gaining of knowledge. But let me just read a couple of these texts that's come in. Hi Anthony, great show. Hosting, loving the tunes and discussion with Jake. Shout out to Roop, blessings and big up on his 37th young birthday. You're only 37, Ruth. Wow, goodness. Young man. Can you be my son as well? You're good. And that's birthday party this weekend. Big up search engine, peace and love. We are one, and that's from Natasha and Roop. And we need to have a show again. It'd be great actually for you to meet Natasha and Ruth. Actually, beautiful people. They're from Union Street Media Arts. And they're also very much into holistic healing, and they have a clinic, and they do a lot of natural health and Reiki and weekends and stuff. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, that's a good one. Blah, blah, blah. Here we go. 254 says numbers is not the answer. Consciousness. Laugh out now. Don't be like Madonna. Is Madonna into numbers or something? Is she a numerologist?
I don't know if she's a numerologist.
Yeah, I think numbers and the world is physics, isn't it? I think everything's about physics. What's that thing that they're seeing even in food and everything? The thingy ratio, the golden ratio, is it?
Oh, the it's the spiral. Yeah.
And it's all built up on numbers, you know.
I think everything in the universe is a mathematical equation, sacred geometry. You know, and numbers are just that. 1 add 1 is 2. There's nothing else. You know what I mean? And numbers hold power, and there's a deeper meaning within numbers that relates back all the way to the ancient times.
Definitely. And we're going to talk more about that, and we can talk about numerology. We're going to touch on where you know, what Jake was talking about, the awakening and the change and the moving, what he's doing now, what he has to offer. I've got a few questions here that I'm going to kind of like run through, because there's happened sometimes, you know, you just get into the conversation, it goes where the flow needs to go. We're right back.
Feel the vibe on Legacy.
Yeah,
Legacy.
That was really nice listening to
that. Well, look no further. We are Legacy 90.9.
Did it come across okay?
Of course it did, man.